Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Chris Fagan, and I am happy to have my guest with me today. We are interviewing voice actor Stacy Berro. How are you? How are you? And thank you for showing up.
Well, thank you, Chris. And I'm so excited that we connected and that we're able to do this together because it's so fun to be the guest on a podcast and all the spontaneous conversation that comes up as we get to know each other and everything. And it's Thursday afternoon. I'm here in California and I'm just really excited to be here.
I have been looking forward to this conversation. I'll just tell everybody a little bit about how it all happened. I randomly just scrolling around, social media. I'm looking up topics as I tend to do on this channel. We're looking for things to discuss. I bump into your content, actor, and I'm like, I have to contact this person right away. I need to. I want. I felt like I don't know. I just felt like there was a moment where I know she's going to be able to answer a lot of questions that I've been dying to ask a voice actor. I love voice acting, and whether it's animation or anything. And I was like, I hope she doesn't think that I'm just some dork online just trying to reach out.
No, no, no. You know what? Even without saying, I could tell by your whole profile, the whole thing, and the way that you approach me that you're professional. And, one of my goals a little bit every day, I'm always trying to connect to production studios of different kinds, audio engineers, sound designers, video game production, commercial types of production, all different kinds of things because they're all genres that I work with. And Instagram is an interesting thing because there's just such a mix of professional and the social fray of all different kinds of things. But it's so fun to be able to connect with someone professionally when you find like a good mix of people. You know, Also, by the name of your business, I wasn't sure what kinds of things that you do as a studio. And so getting to talk to you a little bit, this is so neat for me to see what kinds of projects you work on because, it's such a broad term, what a studio can be.
Mm.
It's so fun. We had a chance to like say hello to each other yesterday for a second and a little virtual coffee, which I'm a big proponent of. And just to find out that you do movie reviews and all kinds of stuff is really fun.
I also know I enjoyed that conversation as well, and it was refreshing because you never know what's going to happen in that first moment. But I instantly was like, okay, I know that this conversation is going to go well. I know that this I hope this interview goes well. I feel like I don't know how long it took me to ask. I remember saying that my daughter was also interested in voice acting. I'm like, would you talk to my daughter? I could already tell that she would love talking to you. But I'm hoping that wasn't out of line. I'm like, because you're a
Not at
professional voice
all.
actor. Like you're an actor for how was it? But I forgot what actor said it. Like I'm an actor for hire. And I'm like, oh, please talk to my daughter. I didn't want to come off where it was like asking for like freebies or something.
No, not at all. And you know what? The fact that you mentioned your daughter really got my imagination going
Mm.
because I just kept on thinking of things that I would want to tell her. I'm like, where is she? Where's your daughter right now? Like, pop her in front of the camera and the microphone because I want to talk to her. Especially someone who's so young. She's 11, right?
Yes.
And like I was saying, just to spark that curiosity, one, I was recommending for her to read out loud, you
Right.
know? And a lot of kids may or may not like reading out loud. And these days, I don't know if they do it that often unless they have to, like in school. But just to get used to training your ear. And that's such a big part of it because just being able to hear yourself, we don't always pay attention to what we sound like. And then I was telling you, like, pick 5 basic emotions or something and have
Right.
her read one sentence. Like, pretend that she's really happy or really sad, something's really funny, really sarcastic, angry, whatever it is. And as a kid, she might think this is a really goofy exercise, but it's really at the core of, acting things and just kind of a start for getting to know your own voice, for voice acting. And watching cartoons. That's our other homework assignment that I wanted to tell you.
Oh, I'm sure we can
Um,
do that.
I mean, there is so much more to voice acting than animation, also. That's just, one big part of it. And people
Yeah.
have different aspects of it that they love. And some people don't even do animation. But especially for a kid, that's right up her alley. And to start paying attention to what some of those characters sound like. Pick a favorite. Why is it her favorite? What do they sound like? Can she imitate that one for fun? It's
Right.
all for fun, because if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So, like fun homework exercises, but it also gets her thinking a little bit.
That was, and it was a lot of fun suggestions that you gave, and it led me to, like, it wasn't one of the questions that I started off, but I guess I'll start with just
I
the basic
deviated from your
question.
list.
Right. Well, like, no, we're already going to go off script, right? But no, just the basic, I guess the basic question that everybody would ask, right? What was it that got you into this business, and was it like at a young age, or how did you get into voice acting in general?
I'd like to tell you this amazing story. Like I was little and I dreamed of this and all that, but not quite so much. I was little and I was a ham. And so I have a certain set of skills
Mm-hmm.
that are unique to me, and other hams out there will understand. So I am a goofball. I like to make silly voices. I like to talk. I like to talk to myself, you know, not in silly voices. So for real and imagined characters, all that kind of stuff. So I really enjoy the ability to play. Okay,
Right.
so those are all just skills I never knew had a home. I never knew that I'd have a use for them ever, or that it would matter in some kind of way. But they're all kinds of things that are so fulfilling to me. And using my imagination and creating characters. Again, I always say this, both real and imagined.
Right.
So little did I know, honestly, that there was something out there that I would do that would be anything like this. I never thought of of being an actor.
Hmm.
I never thought of voice acting and how you are truly an actor, portraying everything through your voice. So it's like an actor times 100, because other people don't have the luxury to see you, see your face, see your eyes, see what you're doing. So everything that we do has to be conveyed through our voice. Um, so back to how I got started in this. Okay, so ham by nature. When I was 21, which was like yesterday, right?
Right. Right.
um, I took this voiceover class, but not because I really sought it out and I wanted to. It just happened to be in the building where my sister had a business, and I was passing time. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to take this class. And honestly, they were in it for the demo. It was somewhere in Burbank, and I didn't know what they were asking of me. I mean, it was fun to be around people and we all took turns at the microphone, but at that
Right.
moment I was pretty shy, so I didn't really know what the point of it all was. I didn't know where they were grooming us to go, but ultimately they were trying to sell us a demo, which is not
Right.
uncommon, for certain places. And so I wasn't ready, and I didn't know what that meant. So I forgot about it. I was done with the class, and I think it was like 5 classes, which is
Okay.
really short. Um, the voice acting journey is something that you evolve with over time. You start with some beginning training. You get to know what voiceover is, and
Hmm.
all the training evolves with you. So it keeps on going at every stage of your evolution. Um, so during the pandemic, like many people, my husband says to me, "Do you want to take a voiceover class?" It shocked me. Like, that is not in his wheelhouse of something that he was going to ask me to do. And we don't take classes together or, any of that stuff. So I'm like, did you know that I like kind of wanted to do that at one point in life? And he's like, yeah, but he just saw something and thought it'd be fun.
Like
So we
an impulse shopper kind of a thing, right?
completely,
Right.
completely. And it shocked me. So we huddled together with a laptop for this introductory hello one time with Del Mar Media Arts.
Okay.
And after the Zoom, he's like, "Oh my God." So when he realized that he would have the skill of reading out loud and potentially be on Zoom, whether it be for the classes or anything else, for more than 15 minutes at a time, he's like, "I'm out."
Oh, he just tapped out completely.
Yeah, he's like, "This is not for me." He didn't have the patience for it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Okay, do you mind? I'm going to keep going because actually I really, really want to do this." And the timing was right. You
Right.
know, it, I kind of came full circle, and after doing many other things in life, the timing was just perfect for me. And I embraced it head on and, learned about voiceover, a little bit about all different kinds of genres in that class. And it was even before I had equipment. That's how it all starts,
Mhm.
And then I YouTube the heck out of everything because that's what everybody does. What are people saying? What are people doing? What are more classes? And eventually you hear some things that resonate with you and you learn a little bit along the way. And I took a particular webinar and I ended up with more training. and that particular training really helped put a lot of questions that I had in their proper place and answered a lot of things for me. And I kept going, beginning, intermediate, advanced, kept going, all of this. And I just love it. I love it. I love what I do. And I'm just so lucky. And in fact, I have the opportunity to give back a lot because I'm part of VO Radio.
Okay.
And one of my coaches and mentors, Anthony Reese, created VO Radio for the voice acting community. And it's for people of all levels. So we
I've
have
never
like a,
heard of that. Obviously, voiceover radio, right? So it's
yeah, VO Radio.
okay.
And yeah, you should, it's so fun. It's 24/7.
Hmm.
It streams, online, voradioonline.com.
Hmm.
And there's an app and all that stuff. And we have live shows like 3 times a week. And I'm on a panel with other veteran voice talent. And I'm a fellow VO. I'm not a coach. I mean, I mentor some people as a fellow VO, and help them along the way because we're all at different places. And what I never realized is how big the voiceover community is and how amazing it is. And all the people involved are so helpful. It's very unusual that way, you know? Very, very unusual. And so by being on that panel with them, and we're helping people who are new or people who have been doing it for a while and they have questions and at every stage of things, so it really taught me that no matter where someone is in the journey, you're always learning and that there's, helpful people along the way and everyone's experiencing similar things.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you said that you're not just there to coach. You're also one of the hosts there. So it's a platform where you can also teach and give. I'm
You're like,
assuming just
what the
not
heck is
inspire,
it?
just
Yeah, it's it is a platform with a lot of featured contributors.
mhm,
So one, I got to be and am the imaging voice for the radio station itself, which is really cool.
okay.
And I get to do promos and be an identifying voice for the station.
Mhm,
That's neat, and that's a separate thing. And then as a contributor, um, I also get to write a feature that I create called Top of Mind,
mhm.
where it's, things that are top of mind for those who are new in VO, and it's like on demand. And then we have a live show called Let's Talk VO on Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 p.m.
Okay.
And also a VO2B thing on Fridays. And all of this is actually broadcast on air live, and then simultaneously you can see it on YouTube.
Okay.
And we have a panel of a handful of us. And there's some coaches, and there's usually like 4 or 5 of us. And oftentimes we have like a special VIP guest that we're asking questions to, but it's kind of an open forum. And we take calls. People have emailed in and they have questions about voiceover. And so we're taking turns kind of answering them and having spontaneous conversation about those topics about voiceover. And
Mhm.
it's great because people are, again, like I said, at all different levels within their career. Could be haven't done it yet, just starting, been doing it for 30 years. And it's what, like all these experiences that everyone has. And it's so neat.
I now I plan to submit my bid to buy some like voiceover advertisement space for a product that like doesn't exist as a joke. I'll be like just to break into between your shows and be like, this episode of VO Radio was brought to you by Chris Fagan's Fixer Elixir. There's something like something like a retro thing. I don't know. I don't know why I feel like doing that now. I don't know why. I love
Well,
old voice radio stuff.
guess what? Actually, they have Power Podcast weekends,
Mhm.
and you can actually submit your podcast online, and they'll play your podcast throughout the weekend in a lineup with some other podcasts. Like they have podcast streaming. So that's fun.
So
Save your
there is open.
podcast.
So besides my joke, that you have a space where you just play other you share other podcasts that
Hmm.
are out there. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So all
it's
you
really
guys out there
cool.
listening, if you guys are interested, you heard it right here first. So I'm definitely going to spread the word on that. That is a good service. I like that.
And you know what? Um, this is a great idea too. You
Mm,
know what? You're interesting in and of yourself and what you do with talking about movies. You've created
mhm.
a podcast, you have interesting guests. You yourself would actually be an interesting guest to have on VO Radio, and we can interview you too.
I'm nowhere near to you guys' level. I would be so
No,
self-conscious.
it's
I
not
would
a
be afraid to
level
go a
thing.
lot. I always go
No, we are real people talking. Everybody. You wouldn't believe it. They're crazy and wonderful.
Okay. I
But
will.
that, but talking about all that, so that is a big part of my journey because just realizing, I think because we're all alone in our studios, in our booths, for what we do every day,
Yeah.
working on things, auditioning, auditioning. It's a numbers game. We're alone. But yet, when you realize there's this whole community out there, this amazing community, you're not alone anymore.
Right.
And that's the gist of the whole radio station and the vibe. And that was a game changer for me, And then I started to meet more people in the industry through that. Um, I also am a talent inner circle member for Lala Pitas. She is an agent for me,
Hmm.
and she's a very talented woman, and she's always creating something. And she has like this academy, and she's always having workshops and again promoting this family community and this group as well. And she's also a contributor on VO Radio as well, but she has her own things, that she does. So a lot of showcases and workshops and ways that people can really hone their craft, whether they're on camera actors or voice artists and things like that. So a lot of improv classes, acting classes, um, times where people get together and they talk about voice acting and the business end of it or what's going on, a lot of sharing. So at this point in my journey, it's so great because through those workshops, I get to know even more people. And I'm just all about who I can meet face to face and what I can learn.
I was literally about to say that was exactly the vibe that I got, especially like yesterday. I was like, I can tell that you're the type of person that likes community, that likes to just connect with
Yeah.
people, and it was refreshing. I People do not believe me when I tell them how shy I used to be, and I still am. I've broken out of my shell a little bit, but I'm still kind of that shy guy. So sometimes when you're like, come out and join us on our, it's right, it's weird, right? I'm asking you to collab with me and let me interview you, and then you're like, you should come on mine, and I'm all like, ah! When I get
No, no. And I just had to tell you about that because you would get just such a kick out of it and all the neat people that you can meet. And also it intertwines with what you do because we
right,
feature podcasts and you are right there behind the mic, just like I am, just like so many are, doing their thing. So you, in your mind, you've separated yourself from voice actors and, other people like that, but we're one and the same. We just have a different avenue that we go about it and as a genre, we'll call
right,
what you do genre. You do podcasts.
right, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I will. I won't. I will not. I will not be a Debbie Downer. I will say yes. So just let me know. I am down whenever, wherever, yeah, that it's happening. Just let me know. I'm
I
here.
will. I will. I'll send you an email about that. But yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the hot seat, but it's really not the hot seat. It's
Yeah,
really
what's
not.
up with all the peer pressure, Stacy?
But I just, you're like me. I'm in my booth here, and you
Mm,
do your podcast. Like there's a whole nother, you know, world out there who really needs to hear your podcast, needs to hear about what you do and meet you.
okay,
Super serious.
I agree. I'm not going to disagree with that,
Hmm.
but I'll be whenever you have the space for me. Yeah, yeah, I'm down. I'm ready. Ready, ready. But I'll.
um, and one interesting thing that I did recently
Mhm,
through Lala Pitas um, is an LA showcase.
mhm,
So that was in April. We're still in April, and I feel like it was just yesterday, but I can't believe how fast time is going. And this was so special for me because this was an in-person event. So with Lollapetus, I've done, like I mentioned, several showcases where we're on Zoom
mhm,
and we prepare like three scripts. There's a guest panel of important coaches, mentors, agencies, things like that that you're just really wanting to connect with. The whole thing is
okay.
for educational purposes, but there's a lot of opportunity there. People that you wouldn't necessarily get to meet unless you were doing the showcase. And this one was in LA, and I live right outside of LA. So I thought, I really need to do this in person. Um, and I got to take two amazing workshops. This was
Mhm,
like a full day, super full day. In fact, It was a two-part event, actually, this showcase. It was an actor's boot camp, but it was kicked off by a voiceover day. So I just
Mhm.
participated in the voiceover day. Um, and again, two workshops. Dave Fenoy was the first one, and he's veteran voice talent. Oh my goodness, and huge in video games and everything. He's amazing, amazing. And then also Rick Zeef, who's huge in animation, and he was amazing. And so those were two really great workshops back to back. And then they had the showcase. And this was a very long day, so I had my Baby Bell cheese in my purse, you know. Need a little snack, a little protein. And then they had the showcase, and there were like, I don't know how many panelists, like a lot of panelists, and some were in person. Again, the whole
Mhm.
event was, this one was hybrid, some in person,
Mhm.
some on Zoom. Some participants were in person, and again, some on Zoom. Uh, but just to be able to perform what normally, you would do in your booth or perhaps in a studio if you went somewhere, to
Right.
perform that in person in front of the panel was a big kick. Like, awesome. Just to
And
be able to
you,
do that. Hmm.
what was, I don't, I'm trying to remember I skimmed through the IMDb. What's that project that you've done that stands out to you the most? Do you have like a favorite thing that you like to work on? Is it like voiceovers for like animation or for video games, or what's the genre that you like to work with most?
I hate to sound so, you know, I do love it all because it's all different.
Hmm.
But um, I do love animation and I do love video games. So I love the real life stuff, and that's a different feeling. Um, and then it's refreshing to be able to put on a different hat and do the animation in video games. The fascinating thing about video games these days, though, is they're more based on reality. So that's a different kind of a character. They don't want everything to sound like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Right.
They want things that sound real, and that's
Yeah. More
fascinating.
cinematic. Yeah.
And there's a narrative, and those kinds of games I love, because if the player does this, then there's this scenario, and the possibilities are endless. So really, you can dive deep into a character
Hmm.
and a story, and it's so fun. It's just so much for the imagination. It's so neat. So I have to say, one of my favorite things to do are video games. And it's something that surprised me because I didn't consider that. But you always have to be open to doing new things. And then one project led to another, which led to meeting certain people who were creating games and into games, and then that whole world. And you do something for someone, and they know you, and then they refer you. And I have definitely have a special place in my heart for the game production community, and especially indie games, because it really takes a lot of imagination and drive to see a game through. It's very,
Oh yeah.
very difficult. Oh my gosh, to create that, and then to have this baby of yours, and have the people portray the characters, the way they're supposed to, and have it all fit together. It's fascinating. And another thing, audio dramas. Fascinating. And you're like, what's the difference between that and an audiobook? I love audio dramas, and I look forward to doing lots and lots more video games and lots more audio dramas,
Mhm.
because like the audio dramas, you're oftentimes you're interacting with people. Sometimes you're doing your lines alone and somebody's piecing them together. And then sometimes you get to actually collaborate with people and banter back and forth,
Okay.
together, which is fun. But the story just comes alive, and it's so fun. It's really
Awesome.
fun.
The I'll try to stop getting off of off script. So I'll get back on
Oh my
path
God, I went so
right
off script and I kept laughing. So
So,
no pun
so
intended, off script.
right. So I'll try to get back on. Let's see. So your IMDb page shows a diverse range of projects. So what's been one of the creatively fulfilling voiceover roles that you've taken on, and what made it stand out for you?
This just popped into my head right now. Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
Okay. It sounds, I didn't even care about Alice in Wonderland. I didn't even think about Alice in Wonderland. It's just something that you know from when you're a kid, and maybe you
right.
can or can't recount that imaginative story. Well, one of Lollapedos's projects was this horror, macabre, random version of Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
And
through the
it was
looking glass.
so
Okay.
fun. It was so fun. So
Well,
I
to
was,
me, Alice in Wonderland is kind of horrific.
well,
It
yeah,
scares the
it's
crap.
it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. I'm not going to lie about that. It is kind of weird, but it we had a lot of creative freedom and there was a lot of improv involved with that. So as we got together and we practiced this as a group, and there were like, wow, it was a big group of us, like over 30 of us, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And it was last year. And the characters evolved, and then the creativity and the direction evolved too. And I got the opportunity to be part of the Greek chorus, which is neat. And I don't know if you've heard of that, but these whispering, interesting voices in the background. And I got to do that in both English and Spanish.
Okay.
So, yeah, and spontaneously. So when there was something going on, we were like the voices in Alice's head. So
Ah,
we were saying, let's say she says, "Oh, hmm, I think I'll have a piece of toast." I'm just making this up.
right.
And we'd go, "Toast, toast, pan tostado." I don't know, just like,
Like that
so
echoing voice, maybe that haunting voice that's in
exactly.
the background, right? Right.
Exactly. Okay, so that was one fun thing. But I was Alice's alter ego. So me and another woman were both Alice, and we
Mhm.
worked it out together, it was fun to have this creative outlet and know that our input, if it worked for the scenes, that we could do it.
Mhm.
So we had like a lot of freedom, and that was unusual and fun. Um, we decided when she was Alice and when I was Alice. And I was Alice when she was small, and she had drunk the potion and everything.
And you grew big, yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Um, so that was really fun. And then there was the crying baby. Okay, this was so fun. So I don't remember this crying baby that turns into a pig in whatever version of Alice in Wonderland I either read or saw as a
I
kid.
say, it must have been the book.
Yeah,
I don't
this is
remember that.
definitely,
Not the
it was
Disney
not,
version.
no, it's not the Disney version. But I forgot that I can do a baby cry. And I'm like, oh my God, I can do a baby cry. When we got to this part, they were
Mhm.
going to use a generic one from sound effects or,
Right,
something like
right.
that. And I go, oh my God, please, can I be the baby? Please, 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 please. And they're like, yeah. And then I did it. And we were all just cracking up. And they had to actually, I was in my booth here
Mhm.
and I'm usually, standing. And I had to really turn away because it was like so loud, and do these little cries over here and then come
Mhm.
back and, be Alice. And then the whole thing felt very schizophrenic when the baby actually turns into a pig. And, and I'm like, it's something I just never considered. But it was just so fun. So that really, the whole experience stands out in my mind as as a learning process with a radio play, because that's what it
Mhm.
was. The deep dive into Alice in Wonderland that I never bothered to think about before, which I did learn. There's a whole cult following for Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah. I know. Especially in like cosplay and things like that. Yeah, that's
People
such a
are
huge
into
following.
it and
Mhm.
dissecting the story and all that, and also a glimpse into the life of that time period and the
Right.
role of women and kids, and it just brought up a lot of fascinating topics. And then to work with such a big group of people spontaneously, and the improv, the whole combination of all of that, and it was so cool to hear it all pieced together in the end.
You mentioned before that you did it in English and in Spanish, and that must open up a lot of like opportunities. So can you share some unique experiences where your ability to voice in both languages was particularly advantage? I'm sorry, advantageous.
I get where you're going.
See, this is why I'm always on the spot, I'm like I'm gonna stumble over a word and I get all self-conscious.
No,
At,
you're
but
perfect. You're perfect. I know what you're
or
saying.
what led you to some interesting projects?
Um, I love speaking Spanish.
Mhm.
Um, Spanish is my second language. So I grew up in the United States. I have a
Mhm.
passion for Spanish, but it's a different thing as a voice actor. And I didn't, in the very, very beginning, I didn't consider it. And then I realized that being bilingual is such a strength for me.
Yeah.
It sets me apart from the rest, and I'm thankful for it. The opportunities that I have with that, I am a non native speaker. So I choose what I'm doing carefully. So if someone wants a Spanish version of something, great. They get to have the same voice actress, the same voice print in Spanish and English. It could be a commercial for a product. It could be a political ad. It could be that. It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, and if it's animation or something like that. But another fun thing is that I really love to do, I can speak English with a Spanish accent. And it's Spanish neutral is my
Hmm.
Spanish, and Spanish neutral is my English with a Spanish accent, meaning that I don't identify with a certain country. You know, I'm not typically going to sound like I'm from Mexico or Argentina or something like that. I have it nice and neutral. And it's neat to be different, you know, and it comes up. And especially here in California and in today's culture,
Right.
it's just great to be able to offer that if someone wants it. It makes me uh, unique and more marketable.
And with things changing, like with like technology and trends and things like that, how do you continue to like hone on your skills on in the landscape?
And you had asked me too, what would be one of my favorite projects and involving Spanish. Um, I was in a short film called Encierro,
Hmm.
and it was a neat horror film, and I just played the part of Julia's mom. So she was on the phone with her mom, and her mom is upset with her because you know the daughter doesn't give them attention anymore, doesn't care anymore, you know, and they're arguing back and forth. And so that was in
Hmm.
Spanish, and that was really fun. So that's a more memorable one, you know, for me. That wasn't that long ago; it was a few months ago. So that was a fun project. Um, and how I hone my skills, I am constantly reading out loud in Spanish. So I'll take something from an online magazine, uh, and it just requires so much more effort to move your mouth in Spanish than it does in English, you know? And it's a whole different set of muscles, and, you know, I gotta be warmed up and really pay attention to my pronunciation and really like when I'm working on a script, I have to internalize it. You know, so I have to know the script so well to
Hmm.
be able to adapt it to how would this character really be saying this in Spanish? You know, how would they? It all boils down to the same things: how to make it the most authentic as possible for somebody really saying something in that situation, no matter what it is, and being in that situation.
Hmm.
And also, if you happen to be speaking Spanish or you're speaking Spanish, but whatever to make it the most authentic in that situation.
So the approach, and I guess it's obvious. I guess so. The approach, whether it's when it's in English or when it's in Spanish, the approach for voice acting is different. How you would approach it in either or language, correct?
You know what? Really, the approach is the same. It's just more practice
Mhm.
to make sure that other language can be portrayed as naturally as possible, just
Possible.
like you would in English. So if I like have something in English and Spanish,
Mhm.
or even if it's just in Spanish, I will go ahead and how would I say this in English? Like, what of me would I be feeling and portraying with my emotions and my personality according to the specs? You know, for this project, is this a woman who is friendly? Is she middle aged? Is it a younger girl? Is she kind of millennial? Do I need somebody to trust me? Or is this lighthearted? You know, all those things. And then how would I say this no matter what language I was speaking? And if I can't get there, I will make sure that I can think about that. How would I say that in English?
I like.
And then how would I say that in Spanish? It's not one for one because you're going to
Mhm.
feel a little bit differently saying something in another language, but making it your own. So yeah, the process is the same, and it all roads lead to Rome because you're just trying to be as authentic as possible, as real as it can be. And it's so funny because at the heart of everything, the heart of acting,
Mhm.
is to be and to sound like you're not acting and to be real. That's what's so funny.
I like that one part that you said when trying to tap into I guess into the character. How do I get this person to trust me or something like that? I was like, that was a unique. I like that. I like the. I don't know. That just connected with me. Like when you, how do I get this person to trust me? And I'm assuming like there's other questions I guess like that you would ask depending on the character. Like
Hmm.
how do I get this person to respond with me with this emotion, how do I get the other actor to respond with that emotion or something like that? Is that also the approach? How do I trigger that response from from the other side, from the other
Hmm.
actor or things like that? Are all those questions also just coming about
Yeah.
when you're trying to nail this one moment or scene or
Yeah, and when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of commercial reads right now.
Mm.
And it all starts with who, what, when, where, why, and you elaborate on that so much. So, okay, the specs, like we talked about, how old am I? And the more information they give you, the better, what's
Right.
happening in the scene. Why is this person talking about this? Are they selling you something? Are they confiding in a friend? Are they just having conversation? All that. Um, and as that person, where are you? Who are you talking to? Pick a real person, a real scenario. Why are you saying what you're saying? What brought you to that moment where you're at this cafe? Whatever you're picturing, it's up to you. But the more visualization you have, the better. What does it smell like in there? What did you order? Are you waiting for your food? Do you know this person who you're talking to? Do you have a relationship with them? Is it a sister? What time of day is it? All these different things. And what brought you to that point? Why are you here telling her about? I was going to say something funny. I won't say that.
If you like it, I love it. I would
I
go
was going to
for
say, why are you here telling her about a feminine article or something? Like why? What? I won't say that word. I don't know why I even thought of that, but
it. Yeah.
what happened? Why did she ask you that? And everything that you're saying is a response to something,
Right.
So she asked me a question like, "Oh, what what is the brand that you use?" you know, and I'm answering, "Oh, well, what happened to you?" And I'm launching into the conversation that I'm having with her.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Everything's a reaction to something. So the more that you can add to it adds to that whole scene.
Right. It
You
literally
know,
that what is that phrase? Like, what is my character's motivation? Like kind of is like that conversation. Uh
Absolutely. And the backstory, like, okay, well,
mhm.
what brought you there? But what am I like as this character? Am I a morning person? Have I had a really hard life? Am I a whimsical person? What are the things that add to this situation? The more that you can think of, the better, but not just be like, oh, a list of things on a paper. I mean, really take it to heart and put those to, to real active imagination use. And if you have to, it's move your body,
Mhm.
have a prop if you need to, that doesn't get in the way of what you're doing. Just whatever it is, make it as real as possible, but don't overthink, don't overthink it.
This wasn't the one of the questions that I thought, but you just made me think of something like when you're, I guess, is there a moment when you're in the zone and maybe you're right there in the booth by yourself, but do you feel like, I think you said you stand up. Do you feel like you have to move around a lot, or I guess does it depend on the script, or are you just still and just
Oh no,
talk?
I
Like,
happen to
are you
be,
totally animated sometimes? Like I probably would be.
I'm normally like this standing up.
Hmm.
And no matter what it is, no matter what it is, I'm always standing up because I want to be an active participant in what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, and if a person is talking, they're generally moving their hands. You're
Right.
never just talking like this. That's how you're going to sound. But if I'm telling you, oh my God, oh, this is happening and I went here. And if I'm telling you a list of things, maybe there's three things, it helps to move your hands because
Yeah.
it helps move the energy, you know? So there was this, and this, use
Hmm.
your fingers, counting on your fingers. Anything you can do to exaggerate what you're saying with your body will help you. Like, I'm so mad,
Right.
or whatever you can do. I mean, no one can see you, but it just adds to the emotion of the situation. So, yeah, move around, move around. And I tend to use this small space. I use up every inch of it that I can.
It's going. I just see I would just see it in my head. I would just imagine that depending on the script that you have, especially if it's a lot of fun, you probably it's so animated and whatnot. I probably wouldn't be able to. I talk with my hands a lot all the time. I'm forcing myself to try to be still, but it makes sense because if I was just like you said, like, with my head down, like just reading the words, it kind of makes me feel like I'm avoiding eye contact because my wife's gonna catch me in a lie. Did you wash the dishes today? Yeah, of course I did. Of course. Oh, no, no, you didn't. So
But
that makes sense.
it's about whatever is natural. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If you're moving your hands around unnecessarily, it's going to sound weird too, and you're going to look weird. But whatever's natural for you, and hey, whatever you're doing to restrain yourself, don't.
Oh, I
It
mean,
doesn't, it doesn't serve you.
nah. I
Be
just
yourself.
I get self-conscious, I guess. I'm always like, am I moving my hands too much? But then,
You're not. Whatever you do, Own it because it's you, you
I
know?
like that.
Yeah,
Whatever
own
you
it.
do,
You're
own
here.
it because it's you. That's, you know, that sounded like a commercial. Now I can hear that voiceover at the end of a commercial. Whatever you do, own it because it's you. That's, maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Maybe she's born with it. Oh, that's a question I can. Okay, so commercial work. Have
Mhm.
you voiced over commercials or I'm sure you've done it. You've done it all.
I have, but my goals are including to do bigger and better. I don't say better, bigger, interesting, bigger
Mhm.
brands, for commercial work and that type of thing. Get to do more and more of that. Um, um, I am the imaging voice for Roundabout Grill. I've done a lot of commercials for them, and they do heavy like online campaigns and different TV stations and things like that. So that's neat. So that's food
Mhm.
and a commercial for a law firm, which is neat. And just, like one of our coaches and mentors on the radio station said, our job is to audition and keep auditioning and auditioning. And that's what I do. So I know that I'll get to do, more commercial projects in the future. I never thought that I would actually like that as much as I do. It's a whole different thing, but it's important to be as diverse as you can as a voice actor because different directors have all different kinds of projects.
Mhm.
So you just want to be as active in several genres as you
As
can.
you can be, yeah.
hmm
And
So
now,
you can do more work.
exactly. I no, I, oh, I'll stop going off script. Because I know that that my wife was, believe it or not, I know she's walking about. I can hear it.
Hi,
'Cause
wife.
but I got to I narrowed it down to five, and I still went over, and I still asked more than because I do that sometimes. I'm like, you know what? She said something so interesting. I have to know this, and I have to. But I'll wrap it up with the final question. So, like, what do you do? What do you believe is the most crucial element in creating a truly compelling and believable voiceover performance?
You have to believe it yourself. You have to believe what you're doing. You have to be that character. And again, that character that's real or
Mhm.
imagined, whatever that is, you have to see it,
Mhm.
be it, smell it, then it becomes real.
So you became that baby. You became that baby when you did Alice in Wonderland. You
Well,
have to you believed.
yeah, as much as yeah, that's
Everybody in the house is gonna be like, what that baby
That's
do?
a random one for me. But yes, the the more I learn, the more like there's just some handful of information and that always comes up. It's
Mhm.
about being authentic. That's what everyone wants. All of this is so people can create a version of reality. They're trying to make something that they've created be
Mhm.
real and something that people can feel something they can identify with, they can buy something, whatever it is, it's all identifying with someone who is real.
Right.
Um, it's amazing how a real person can make you feel things through their voice. And it's not someone being perfect. Nobody wants someone who's perfect. And oh, I learned a word recently and
Mhm.
it kind of applies to this. This is very interesting. Yeah, I think if if our souls get a whiff of something that's fake, it kind of turns us off. So
Right.
much so that have you ever heard of uncanny valley?
No.
Oh my
Uncanny.
gosh, you've got
Okay.
to look this up. Something like, and this has to do with AI, robots, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, when we, as a species, as human beings, identify with something that doesn't seem quite right,
I, I
we,
literally was just having this conversation with someone else a week ago. I think I know where you're going. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I saw some documentary
Uh-huh.
and they had these robots
Mhm.
and they have to make them a certain, I'm totally chopping this. It's so, the theory is called uncanny valley because it
Mhm.
has to be not perfect, not or resemble a human,
Right.
or else it like we turn off. There's a lot more to it that I don't know, and I'm just making it up. But there's a word for it, uncanny valley. So a lot of people ask about AI. Are you afraid for what you do? And there's AI is going to be there whether we like it or not.
Or
We do
not,
have
yeah.
wonderful advocates fighting on our behalf as actors, as voice actors, and all of that stuff. And things will evolve.
Hmm.
It's not fair to us right now, of course, but there's an awareness that's growing and changing, in a big part thanks to NAVA and Tim Friedlander. That's the National Organization for Voice Talent.
Hmm.
Um, but our our senses, like, hey, you call a bank and you're stuck in the prompts, with the AI, and you feel lost and disconnected. And if you didn't have to make that phone call, you wouldn't. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you're like, I want to talk to a person. Actually, forget the bank. AT&T. Me last night. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, get me through this phone call. Let me
What is
talk to a
it?
real person.
Your call is important to us. Please continue to hold. Well, if it's so damn important, pick up the phone.
Right. And we're in a society where we're lost, in the machine.
Right.
So we crave real people. And that's why, people will use AI. I call it the low hanging fruit. It's
Hmm.
a cheap option. Maybe somebody can do it themselves or hire somebody and they make a presentation at work, whatever. You know, it's, uh, it's an effort. It might get the job done for whatever they're doing. And if you want something that is truly creative, you truly want people to feel something, you have to use a human. It just can't, at this point, it definitely can't be replicated the way that a human can do it. The little nuances in a voice, the little catch in someone's voice, the thing that makes you hear something and the hairs on your arms stand on end, you know, just all that good, gushy, interesting, goofy, wonderful stuff that makes us human. That's back to your question. That's what it's all about.
Hmm.
Trying to create something that's real. And I
The
went off on a tangent myself about that,
Yep.
but
You
that's
know, and
that's
it's very similar. And maybe it was. You said Canvas. What was it called again?
oh
Canvas.
no, no, Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. Maybe that's what it was called. But I remember having a conversation and with someone else last week about this similar to this topic from something I heard a long time ago about like things like AI and generating like if I think the question was it was movie related, which things tend to be here in my
Hmm.
studio. It was like, will AI take over and replace real actors and things like that? And I remember one of the AI creators or maybe a graphic designer or something like that. He said something like, "The human eye will, no matter how good and realistic you can make that person. I mean, you can make maybe the house or the scenery, the background, and generate it with AI, and it'll fool the human eye. But when it's another person, there's just something about it
Uh-huh.
where people can just tell there's something off about
Yeah,
and we can see it because we see real life all the time and unless we are in the matrix, I don't know,
but
but
it's
we
it's subconscious. I
yeah
mean, we may not be able to define it, but we know.
we
We
know we
know that
just
something's off. Hmm.
something's off here.
We will coexist with all of that and evolve with technology, but there's always a place for humanity
Right.
and keeping it real. And people crave it. They want to see and relate to other people going through experiences that they go through, you know.
That
So
sounds like a bumper sticker, something on a bumper sticker. Humanity, keep it real. Just making merch here during this interview.
that's right. That's
I like
right.
that. But oh, that's amazing. I appreciate your time and you taking the time to talk with me. I want to. I wish today was the day that my daughter could have been around to sit and ask. But you did say that. I guess in any time in the future, I guess if there's ever a moment if we wanted to collab again or connect
Oh
again,
yeah.
maybe I can reach out. I needed to get that on the record. You heard her, guys. She said she was, but
I would love to talk to your daughter and instill that little fire in her. And it's wonderful as a young person to have something to think about and imagine about, and
Mhm.
that someone believes in you. And if I had even known about, I don't know what I would have done, because everything happens as it should. But as a kid,
Right.
to be able to have an outlet for your imagination and to have someone encourage you to do
Yeah.
these things with your imagination, oh, it's
Possibilities
wonderful.
are endless. Yeah.
Hmm.
Are there any projects that you're currently working on before I let you go that you are allowed to say or that you want to let us know anything that's coming up that you're working on if you're allowed? I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, one thing that I just finished recently that's neat is a game. I'm a character called Emma. I was going to say Kemma. Emma in a game called Short Snow. It's a
Hmm.
survival game. It's fun. It just launched on Steam,
Okay.
and created by an indie game person. So that's exciting for them. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into everything, and so that launched, and it started with like 25,000 people already wanting the game, and the minute it launched, it's so cool. So that was neat.
Hmm.
And um, and uh, I have an e-learning thing happening right now,
Okay.
and it's for people who are learning English as a second language,
Okay. All
and
right.
they have to take a test and stuff. And so that's interesting. And it's those kinds of projects are fun, and they have me talking really slow for those people learning English. So I have to remember not to talk that slow when I do the next thing.
But see, that's what's so outstanding about it. So it's like, see, Stacy Berro, see on one day video game voiceover work and you're in the entertainment field. The next day you're teaching and you're contributing to
Uh-huh.
the development of like of society like that. That's what I love about like acting and
Hmm.
voiceover work and things like that because it's different. It's never this always it's never the same
Uh-huh.
in each project, but it's
Exactly.
that's what's so amazing about
It
it.
it is so different. And you did ask me earlier that um about the different genres. And some people, pick one, that they
Hmm.
love, and that's what they're good at. And they may have a commercial person may have no interest in an animation or all of that. I just happen to be very fortunate that not only am I interested in it, I'm good at it. So I have, a lot of tricks in my bag, a lot of, characters, my peeps, and it's just, again, like I've said, a wonderful creative outlet for me.
Stacy Berro, I appreciate you for taking the time to grace us here with your presence. I humble myself before you, and I thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I really do appreciate it. It's outstanding. Before I let you go, can you once again can you tell people if I forgot I don't know if we plugged how people can find you online.
Oh,
Tell people where they can reach out to you and find your outlet online.
okay. Well, you can always find me at voiceoversbystacy.com. That's my website. And I'm out there on social media as well, either as Voiceovers by Stacy or Stacy Berro. So I'm on Instagram. That one's Voiceovers by Stacy. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn and X. A lot on LinkedIn. You can find me a lot on LinkedIn, but you can find me pretty much everywhere. So, or you can always email me at Stacy at voiceoversbystacy.com.
Thank you once again, and until next time, guys, have a good one.